Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. We are halfway done with the NFL season, and we're going to be talking about that. We're going to have some mid-season awards and look at the current standings, kind of where we're going into the second half, which is always the more exciting one. But before that, first of all, Smokey, how you doing?
Not bad at all right now, man.
How'd the Falcons do?
Well, you know what? Matt Schaub threw for over 400 yards in that game.
He did. He did, yeah.
But no one expected him to win, so it is what
I
it is.
I would have appreciated it if it did, but they didn't.
I bet, yeah, being the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a rivalry for us too over the past decade or so. Yeah. But
someone's gonna beat him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind. But yeah, we do have mid-season awards coming up later, but first predictions. How did we do last week? Obviously, we had JJ on as a special guest, and how was our predictions from last week coming?
Extremely well. It's
Really?
probably our best week, man. And I'll go ahead and tell you, 15 games this past week. You got 13 correct.
Wow, that's good. That's really good.
I had 14 correct.
Wow. So JJ also had 13, right?
Well, what was it? He agreed with me on all of them except
he disagreed
for which one?
Except for the Jets. He picked the Jets.
Oh, okay. Well, that didn't work out for him. So yeah, he would have had 13.
Wow, that's a lot of games. That was a great week.
I had the Titans. You had the Bucks, which that went in my favor.
Yeah.
Ryan
Tannehill's looking good.
He is, and that
is
was
he like top 5 in? Is he like top 5 in passer rating right now or something?
I haven't seen that stat, but I would not doubt it from watching the games he's played. I would believe it. The Bills and Eagles. You had the Eagles, so that worked out in your favor. That was good. That was a blowout. Holy hell. What was it? Chargers and Bears. I had the Chargers. You had the Bears.
Oh, I did have the Bears. I thought it was the other way around. I thought, like, when they missed that field goal last second, I was like, yeah, God, I did. I had the Bears. I forgot about that. It was such a 50-50 game. But they're both really good at missing field goals.
That's for sure. It seems like no matter what kicker they get, they're just going to miss field goals to lose games. That's just in the cards. But brings our total to, you're still ahead. You have 81.5, and I have 78.5 right now. So
getting closer.
I'm a tick under 10 games per week, and you're just a tick over.
Yeah, it's tough, you know. You get 13 for 15, and your lead actually shrinks down that week. That's tough.
Yeah.
But all I can do is keep running, hopefully take it home.
Oh yeah.
We'll see. I'm feeling good about this week's games, but I do every week. Obviously.
I don't though. I really don't because this slate was one of the toughest I think to pick so far this season.
Yeah, some of them definitely are, but I do have good reasons for all my picks. So without further ado, let's get into it. How about that?
All right.
Thursday night, NFC West, 49ers at the Cardinals.
Well, this is not one that brought much debate. 49ers are on a tear. That defense is amazing, and they just hung 50 points on the Panthers, which I love seeing the Panthers lose, so it didn't bother me at all.
I thought so, yeah. I thought you were going to like that one.
But I'm not going with the Cards here. Going with the 49ers. They're going to keep winning. They have a cupcake schedule left, so I could see them finishing the season undefeated.
A cupcake schedule. Unless you look at the schedule, they have the tough part of their schedule still to come.
They got
Cards
the Saints twice in 3
Packers.
weeks.
They have the Seahawks twice. They have the Saints, the Packers, and the Ravens.
Oh, they're gonna kill the Seahawks. But you're right. I didn't even realize the Saints are on there. You're right.
They have some tough games
Saints,
coming
Packers,
up. And that game
Ravens,
against the Saints.
I was just looking.
That game against the Saints could be for the 1 seed.
I was looking at you have the Cardinals twice coming up. You have the Seahawks. I think it's a good with the bad. And maybe it's a 50-50 more than a cupcake schedule, but yeah.
It's a harder schedule than New England has.
Oh, that's for sure. Look at the division they're in.
But yeah, I do agree with you on this pick. However, gotta pick the Niners over the Cardinals. I'm not even gonna put the bet on it this time because I don't believe in the Cardinals at all. I don't think there's much of a risk to this even. Kyler Murray he might have his worst game. Because a lot of quarterbacks had their worst game against the Niners this year. You saw Baker Mayfield. You saw Kyle Allen just getting exposed. A lot of people want to say I'm not going to be that fast to judge that. But Kyler Murray has been up and down, and I think he's that's going to be sort of his welcome to the NFL moment here. He's going to lose that one on Thursday night. Not going to be a big surprise to anyone. And 8-0 is something that I definitely do like to see. And that actually already, in the fastest possible time, hits our bet. Because we picked the over-under for the Niners at 8 wins.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's a big turnaround from last season. I don't think...
Absolutely.
You didn't even expect that.
I didn't expect like 7-8-0. I thought kind of like the top sort of like the ceiling for my expectations was 11 wins this year, but that looks like it's definitely doable, and maybe a bit more than that. Yeah. I expected something between like 8-8 and like 10-6. That's sort of the range I was looking at.
Yeah.
But it's looking good so far, so I'm definitely not complaining. How about the Texans and Jaguars?
Man, this is one of those tough games. I mean, Texans are what they are, and they happen to have a really great quarterback at the helm there.
Well, they do.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, but
I've heard of him. Is it
okay.
Deshaun? Is it that guy?
That
Watson?
Guy.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he's really good, man.
All
right. Well, since you already know about it, I don't need to point it out. He's really good. Jags.
Didn't know about it. I saw him in Clemson. He was good. Beat Alabama.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's
amazing.
He can play.
Some would say he's on par with that Patrick guy.
Yeah, very little people would say that. Yeah, but some, yeah.
I think every
the occasional
week
person
more
might
and
say
more people are saying it though as the weeks go on here. But another great quarterback is Gardner Minshew, and he has been. I mean, he doesn't have the greatest record for the time he's been in there. It's no Teddy Bridgewater record that he's pulling off there. Not even a Kyle Allen record, but he looks good even in defeat. And the guy is a natural born leader. He's charismatic. He can chuck the ball. He's passing downfield whenever he feels like it, and he's successful most of the times. He has DJ Chark down there catching the balls. But I said all that to say this. Jags are at home, and that's what makes this really hard, but I'm going with the Texans because I believe in the Texans right now.
You believe in the Texans? You think this is a very close game? Do you really think that, or are you setting up some? Do you have some kind of idea behind saying it that way? Is there sort of like an agenda, like a seed you're trying to plant?
No, not at all. It's going to be a really close game. I like to call
it the Skip Bayless strategy. When you hype up whomever you're playing against, so later you can heap more praise if you win.
Yes.
Skip would do that. Like the Cowboys will play the Giants, and he's the Giants, wow, explosive team. No, the Jaguars are 4-4, lucky 4-4. Texans are 5-3, much better than 5-3. Texans are easily gonna win this. Deshaun Watson does not have to be a hero to win that game. I don't care what you're gonna tell me next week. He was a hero last week. He absolutely was. It was a great touchdown pass.
Yes.
You texted me right when it happened. He threw a ball with a got kicked in the face mask. He threw a perfect touchdown. He did. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers threw a better one on Monday night, so he won up them on that one. But the Texans are winning this one. Important, obviously. They can't lose this because too important for the playoff standings. J.J. Watt out for the season with the torn pec. That's gonna be big potentially.
Mm-hmm.
That might have some impact, but yes, Deshaun Watson's gonna be good. They have a better team. They're gonna win it. Colts and Steelers.
Well, Colts are on a tear right now. They're barely winning, but they're winning. And Steelers pulled out a come from behind win over the Miami Dolphins, which does not say much for your organization, considering they're tanking and they don't want to win, and you almost gave them a win. Luckily, Mason Rudolph got it together in the second half and hit Juju downfield for a good touchdown. But there's no way they're going to beat the Colts here. Colts are on the road, which may make this game closer than expected, but yeah, Colts are taking this one.
Gonna agree. Quarterbacks drafted by Bill Belichick right now are a combined 20-2 this season. The Colts are going to win this game, which goes that who accounts for both of those losses, by the way. With the Colts, absolutely terrible, so weak. But now the Steelers are very mediocre this season. We've seen it a bunch of times. Mm-hmm. They don't really stand up to the top of their own division with the Ravens there. I see them sort of on the level of the Browns there. They're going to be competing with the Browns for who gets a better 8-8 at the end of the year. That's the reality of it. So Colts, they have aspirations. Texans are a good team. It's coming out to being the Colts and the Texans. Even though Ryan Tannehill is making the Titans look good right now, I think it's down to those two. Colts are taking a big step, and then remember the Texans. They've played one more game at this point than the Colts, but they've lost that game. So the Colts, with a win, are still going to be leading that division. Mm-hmm. Important note. So I do agree. Bears and Eagles.
Bears and Eagles. This is a tough one, man. Division matchup. The Bears are not as good as we expected, as we pointed out throughout this season. And the Eagles have been up and down. They are on a roller coaster ride. The Eagles looked really good against the Bills. They tore that defense up eventually. I'm going with the Eagles with this one at home because I don't believe in Matt Nagy's offense. I don't believe that this overcorrection he's doing of, hey, everybody's mad because we didn't run the ball, so let's run the ball a lot and not do what it takes to win. I don't believe in Matt Nagy. I don't believe in Trubisky. I'm going with Carson Wentz and the Eagles at home.
I do believe in Matt Nagy more than Trubisky, but I don't believe in any of them a great deal. I do believe in that defense. Mm-hmm. And we've seen the Eagles, like you mentioned, that was a very good point, rip up one of the best defenses in the league in the Buffalo Bills. Mm-hmm. And the Eagles are as inconsistent as it gets right now. They play horrible against the Cowboys, then they go on to play the Bills and they rip them up. They're 5-1 team, run through them like nothing. They look like a Super Bowl contender. Mm-hmm. I don't know what these Eagles are right now. I have no idea. This is the toughest one to predict to me just because I don't know what Philadelphia team is going to show up.
Yeah.
I'm going to bank on the fact that it's going to be the good one because they're coming off of that high win. And the Bears are not necessarily trending the right direction. So Eagles to win it for me. But this is such a jack in the box. I have no idea what's happening. Mm-hmm. Jets and Dolphins. Tank Bowl.
Tank Bowl. This is definitely a tank bowl. And one team is tanking harder than the other. And one team has a good quarterback. One team has an aging journeyman who doesn't really look like he really wants to play anymore. Do you see Ryan Fitzpatrick running these days? Like,
yeah,
dude, he runs like he's 70 years old. I like Ryan Fitzpatrick though. I like him. He's a cool guy, and he's been a decent, mid-range quarterback for most of his career. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know. The Dolphins don't want to win. I'm going with the Jets on the road. Maybe Sam Darnold can get some confidence out of this game.
I agree with a lot of what you said. I disagree with one point. Both of these teams have good quarterbacks. Just one of them doesn't get to start because the team around him is that bad. Uh-huh. And by the way, the Jets are also terrible. Both of these guys are being provided with absolutely nothing at all. Mm-hmm. Sam Darnold, however, does at least get the start. And I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna pick Sam Darnold in this one, obviously. And the Jets, Dolphins are not aspiring to win any type of game. And I think like week 14 is it? They play the Bengals. Which might be the final battle for the first pick.
Oh yeah.
Once we get down to it, but yeah, the Jets should take this at Miami. Anything can happen. This might be a shit show. We'll see, but
most likely
I'm gonna go with the Jets because I'm gonna pick against the Dolphins until they show to me that they can even win one game. Maybe this week, but I don't believe it. Mm-hmm. Vikings and Chiefs.
This is tough because. Have we heard Patrick Mahomes is not coming back this week, right?
We don't know.
Yeah, I think he
was
at
this point.
He
nothing for sure.
I think he was eyeing after the bye, right? Am I correct?
Yeah. I mean, that's the conservative way that people have been thinking about doing. He said that if need be, he even could have played last week. If it were like an important playoff game, he could have played. Decided not to do it. And I don't know if he's going to play this week. I have no information on that so far.
Well, for the team, you would think you'd want him to be healthy. But the Vikings are looking really good right now. Although the Chiefs had a chance to beat the Packers the other night and couldn't capitalize on that.
Yeah.
You know what? The Vikings are on fire. The Chiefs are trending downwards, at least until Patrick Mahomes comes back. So I'm going with the Vikings on the road for this one.
That Chiefs defense looked good against Aaron Rodgers.
They did.
They played really well. They played their best game of the season by far.
Yeah, I mean,
if they played like that with Mahomes, they'd be the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I think the deciding factor for me judging whether Mahomes is going to come back in this one or not is going to be, can they afford to lose this game? Because realistically, you have to think we're going to lose it if he's not playing. So can we afford to go 5-4 and come back from that and make the playoffs? And the answer to that is yes. You best believe it is with Mahomes after the bye week. So I think they should sit him. I honestly think they should sit him if they're smart, unless they really are certain. And with a knee injury, you always want to make sure that the guy really is ready to come back. So no need to burn him. You're 5-4. You're good. You can win out. Right? You have the game against the Patriots. You can win out. Other than that, so play it safe. Rest him. You're gonna take the loss against the Vikings. You'll make the playoffs. It's all good. I'm picking the Vikings here because I think they are not going to start Mahomes. Titans and Panthers.
This is another tough one. I mean, Tannehill's playing like a pro. He's much better than Mariota. And Panthers, they did not look good against the 49ers. And that might have taken Kyle Allen out of the running for staying as the number one quarterback once Cam Newton is ready to come back, which could spell impending doom for the Panthers on the season. But in this game right here, localized to this game, the Panthers are at home and the Titans are on the road, and they're too evenly matched in my opinion right now, so I'm only going with the Panthers because they're at home.
So the Panthers came into that game as one of the premier defenses in the league. They did not go out of the game as that. Gave up 51 points. Now granted, 51 points, not all of those points was the defense's fault. A lot of bad field positions for the defense put in with the picks that were throwing all the sacks and then mistakes. On the offensive side, no production whatsoever. Good punt returning also on the Niners side. But that being said, the Panthers defense played terrible. Luke Kuechly played the worst game I've ever seen him play in his career, and that's not him. That's Jared McCoy. Brian, have you heard that? You watched the game? You know how Brian Burns was in the running for like Rookie of the Year or something? I haven't heard his name called. I haven't seen him. Haven't heard of him. Nothing. So everyone played terrible on that defense last week. There's absolutely no excuse for that. Now, I think the veteran presence is there to bounce back. But I think this loss was so bad, and they're going to be in the media all week. Like you mentioned, the debate is now on. Because of that loss, because of how bad Kyle Allen played, that debate is back on. And Ron Rivera said that Cam Newton still rehabbing Kyle Allen is going to start in this game. I'm going to pick the Titans. I'm going to go with the trend. I'm going to say the Titans actually are on the upswing. And they have every reason to be refreshed, to have that new energy come in with Ryan Tannehill, who, by the way, seems to be a good quarterback all of a sudden now that he's no longer with Miami. And the Panthers are going to feel some major heat. They're not going to have a good time. They need another week to recover from this and to somehow find themselves. And it's not looking too good for the Panthers season. If you remember back to last year, they lost one game badly and went on to lose 7 more. And that was their season. Yeah, well,
some would blame that on Cam Newton's injury.
Yeah, they are susceptible, though. They are susceptible to those losing streaks. We've seen that in the past. So I think this is going to be tough. Going to take a lot to come back from it. And with an inexperienced quarterback, and again, I like him as a player, who isn't quite yet in that position to take charge and say, we got this. I think it's going to be a tough time. I think the Titans are going to win this because they're coming in on a hot streak. Redskins and Bills.
Well, yeah. Bills didn't look great, but they're still leaps and bounds ahead of the Redskins. Redskins are going nowhere, and I don't think they want to at this point. I I don't. Dwayne Haskins, Case Keenum, whoever, Colt McCoy, whoever they throw out there is just going to be a sacrifice to this Bills defense that just got torched by the Eagles. But then again, this is not the Eagles. This is the Redskins. Going with the Bills at home.
Yeah, I mean, talent-wise, Eagles, Redskins, that's a different discussion, different universe. Mm-hmm. Whereas the Eagles are underachieving, the Redskins are achieving exactly according to that current roster talent, which is not much of anything. They're going to lose to the Bills. I do agree with that. I think there's going to be a coming up party for Josh Allen. He's going to have a nice day. He's going to have a safe day for him. He's going to have a confidence boost from this one. Going into the latter part of the season, and the Bills are very much in it. Let's not forget about this. They were undefeated a couple weeks into the season. Everyone was hyping them up. It seemed like it kind of died down after that bad loss to the Patriots, but that's the Patriots defense. No one else really does that sort of thing. So the Bills are a good team. They're going to win this game, and they should not have a lot of trouble doing so. How about the Bucs at Seattle?
Well, I can see a lot of interceptions in this game. And that'll all be coming from Jameis Winston. And of course, he'll probably end up throwing for 350 yards also on top of those interceptions. But no, there's no chance they're winning this game. Seahawks, they need to win. They need to compete with the 49ers to stay in the playoff hunt. Russell Wilson having a career season. He's going to do as he pleases against the Bucs in this game, and Seahawks are going to take this one at home in front of a very loud crowd.
You know, there's like those 1 or 2 games a season where Jameis Winston plays like the first overall pick, right? Mm-hmm. He does it every year. Once or twice.
And you want it to be
he
this
plays
one?
lights out.
Yes.
I want it to be this one. I really want. He played well against the 49ers. Looking back now, how defense has developed, Jameis Winston played outstandingly well in week 1 because that was a close game. Mm-hmm. And you've seen teams that we're thinking are much better than the Buccaneers be done much worse at San Francisco by that defense. So I hope he makes it happen this week. I'm not going to believe it. I'm going to pick with my head and go Seahawks because Russell Wilson is knees deep in that MVP conversation. We'll get into that later. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'll pick the Seahawks with my head. Rooting for the Bucs though, this will be the time to do it. If you want to be famous, this is the time to do it. So let's collectively hope that is going to happen. Lions and Raiders.
Well, man, this figures to be a really close matchup as well. Raiders at home. Speaking of the awards later, I don't wish that Matt Stafford had an injury last year, but it almost seemed like he did. Matt Stafford could be comeback player of the year from having a horrible season.
You know what? There is a certain quarterback who had an injury last year who could be comeback player of the year. Not going to say his name, but...
I know exactly who you're talking about. You know what, man? This is really tough. I think the Lions are on... Well, I can't say they're on fire because of their record. But they're playing lights out. That offense is amazing right now. And who would have thought Matt Patricia could put together an offense like this? Who would have thought that John Gruden could get these Raiders to win as many games as they have? The Raiders are at home here. This is going to be a tough game. I think this could be a shootout, as a matter of fact. And I'm going to go with my heart and pick the Lions on the road.
All right, Is that really a hard pick or is that a hat pick? I don't know. You said the Raiders have won so many games. They won 3 games. They're 3-4.
Who expected that?
I think the standards are pretty low if you're going to say it like that. But yeah, honestly, I'm going to agree. I did not expect the Raiders to be knocking on a door 500 halfway through the season. Absolutely not at all. That being said, the Raiders are posers. They are posers. They are not for real. I'm going to stick with that word. I do not believe any of the whole thing. I believe none of it. Lions are going to win it. Should be an easy one to me because Matthew Stafford is playing well. And the Raiders, while they drafted well, they turned out better than expected. No, not for real. Packers, Chargers.
And by the way, I'm going to talk you into picking a bad team sooner or later.
Okay.
Packers and Chargers. Man. Old man Phil got his win, didn't he? Finally.
He did.
they were on a downslide for a while, but Phil proves that he can still win when need be. Wasn't a great win, but it was a win. Packers, like we say, always trust in Aaron Rodgers. Packers are shooting for the Super Bowl this year. They're planning on going all the way. Aaron Rodgers is throwing to practice squad guys and still winning games. Going with Aaron Rodgers to beat up the fighting Phil Rivers.
If the Packers make it to the Super Bowl, they are going to win the Super Bowl. Bold prediction right now. And I have some reasons for that. Also, it is subject to change, but that's my bold prediction right now. I'm going to agree with you because the Packers look like they might be one of the best teams in the league. I mean, they are one of the best teams in the league.
Oh, for sure.
And they're one of three teams, I think, right now in the NFC to be heavy favorites to make it all the way. Mm-hmm. And with Aaron Rodgers, I think, you know what? I think I have an effect on Aaron Rodgers that is sort of inverse to the way that I view him is kind of the way that he develops. For the first time in since I followed football, I said a couple weeks ago that Aaron Rodgers might not be the best quarterback in the league. Ooh. I said I think it might happen now. Patrick Mahomes might be it. And what happens? Aaron Rodgers plays better than he ever has before, goes on a tear throughout the league. In a scary way. He heard me. Mm-hmm. And I'm not doubting it anymore. I never will again. I made that promise a couple weeks ago. Packers to win at Los Angeles. It's not even going to be home field advantage. The Chargers never have home field advantage. As a matter of fact, if any team like the Packers, traditional team with a big fan base, comes to town, they might just have home field advantage themselves. We've seen it with the Niners in LA playing the Rams, and this might be not much different. Chargers, very much underachieving team still. Packers are going to win it and stay in the race. Mm-hmm. Browns and Broncos.
Two teams that no one really knows what to make of what's going on here. Broncos may be tanking. I mean, they may come to that realization that, well, I guess we're just not going to win.
And are the Browns tanking?
No, I think they're trying to win.
You can't tank.
Yeah. What are they tanking for? They've got their quarterback. They've got their superstar receivers. They've got
Do they really have their quarterback?
According to the city. I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah, this is crazy. What a turnaround from what we thought in the off season.
3 years.
Yeah. Well, going with the Browns on the road, they're going to need this win, and I don't think the Broncos care about winning anymore. Although, it may be a step up at quarterback if they throw Drew Lock out there.
3 years. Mm-hmm. 3 years. I'm saying it every time, but 3 years is the time span after which you first judge a quarterback in the NFL in a serious manner. Mm-hmm. Not 1 year, not 2 years. Last year, how do we judge Baker Mayfield? How do we judge Lamar Jackson?
Yeah. Well,
how do we judge him now?
The exact completely opposite of this year. Mm-hmm.
A guy like Patrick Mahomes only comes around ever so often in a given time frame. Mm-hmm. And quarterbacks, to me, are judged after 3 years. How do we judge Robert Griffin after his first year? How do we judge Colin Kaepernick after his first year?
Superstars.
How do we judge even Johnny Manziel at times? Yeah, after his first year.
Sanchez.
Jake Locker.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill. Mm-hmm. Who are those guys, right? 3 years. Now, a guy that I know to judge at this point is Joe Flacco. And I've said it a long time already. Drew Lock, by the way, the Bengals have heeded my call. The Bengals are starting Ryan Finley. They have a bye week, obviously, this week, but they're going to be starting Ryan Finley the week after, which they should have done a couple weeks ago, but they finally are, so that's a good thing. Same thing goes for the Broncos. Start Drew Lock. You got nothing to lose. You have no business in your division. You shouldn't be last because that's for the Raiders, but you might be. But who cares? You have no business. You're tanking. Start your guy. See if he's something. I like him. I think he's a promising guy. Build around him next year. Mm-hmm. That being said, who's going to win this game? I have no idea. Going to pick the Browns. The talent just is better. And I think they'll pull it out somehow. Browns are... I think at this point it looks like best case headed for 8-8, which a lot of people thought would be worst case. but that might be the harsh reality of when it comes down to it, when the season's all done with. Patriots and Ravens.
This game I'm really looking forward to. I really, man, Lamar Jackson is amazing. This guy can move on his feet, and he can throw a pass downfield when he needs to. Not doing much of that lately without his superstar Hollywood Brown out there. Man, the Patriots, I got to go with logic here and say the Patriots. But after watching what Nick Chubb did to that amazing defense, how he sliced them up for like 6.5, 7 yards per carry, and he was breaking off 10-yard runs like it was nothing. I really think there is a good chance that Lamar Jackson could put one over on the Patriots here. I'm going with logic and saying the Patriots, but I would not be surprised if Lamar Jackson figures out a way to beat these Patriots.
Patriots defense is unlike anything we have ever seen. We are halfway through this season, and the Patriots defense is outscoring opposing offenses right now.
Yeah.
Over the course of the season.
Yep.
Bill Belichick just got his 300th win. This team is impenetrable. This defense is unbeatable. I'm picking the Ravens. I'm going to pick the Ravens. There's not a lot of organizations that are close to being ran as well as the Patriots. The Ravens are one of them. John Harbaugh, that organization is run about as well as you can get it. What do the Patriots do best on their defense? The pass. Their cornerbacks, Stephon Gilmore, unbeatable. They've been fantastic, been outstanding. I think that one of the very few weaknesses of this defense is going to be containing the very mobile quarterback. I'm not talking about Aaron Rodgers mobile or Sam Darnold mobile, Carson Wentz mobile. I'm talking about like running back sort of intangibles at the quarterback position. That's what Lamar Jackson is. He doesn't have to throw. And you're gonna have to put a spy on. Bill Belichick knows it. You're gonna have to put a spy on him. And this is the ultimate proving game for Lamar Jackson. Maybe you've gotten me to do it, by the way. Maybe this is the point where you got me to make that pick. It might. But I'm just gonna say that if this is correct, I think I should. You know what? I think I should get like 2 or 3 points if this is correct. Obviously not. I'm gonna go with the Ravens. Gonna go with the Ravens. I think if anyone can do it, put a dent in that armor, Lamar Jackson, if he performs the way that we have seen that he now can.
I agree.
Pick of the week, obviously.
Yeah,
Cowboys
I agree.
and Giants to close it out. Yeah.
Just to finish that up, I agree. And I think it's so hard to go 16-0 in the NFL. And if anyone has a chance to put one over on him, it's Lamar Jackson. I think he's in a prime spot for it. The odds don't say so, but he's got a chance, and I would not be surprised if he does. Cowboys and Giants. This is kind of tough considering, everyone would say you have to go with the Cowboys, right? Because records, because of what they've done recently. But then again, we watched what they did on the road against the Jets, and they got destroyed. But that being said, Giants have looked decent, but they just can't close out games. They just can't win. Danny is... I don't know, man. He looks good. He looks great. If you play fantasy football, you would see that he was the highest scoring quarterback last week. And he's getting the job done, but they just can't put it together to finish the game and win. Being at home's probably going to help that, and this will be a really close game in my opinion, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys to hopefully, or not hopefully for me, but they're hoping to lock down that division. So that was a lot of politician talk for a game like that. I don't quite know what your agenda is here, but I get it when you started doing the thing for Deshaun Watson. I used this game as an example of how a fallacious person might do it. I named the name there. I'm not going to name him again. This is fun.
Come on. You know this is not close. You know it's not. You know the Cowboys have to win this game, and you know they're gonna win this game. It's a divisional game, just like the Texans are easily gonna win. So should the Cowboys. Nothing less to be expected. This is not a close game. I don't create fake closeness where it's not. So yeah, Cowboys over the Giants. Anything else is an embarrassment. This has to be a win. Very simple. The Eagles, you don't know what's going on right now. The Cowboys seem to be more consistent, a bit more mediocre. I'm not gonna say they're average. I think they're a bit above average, but they're also not cream of the crop or anything like top 5 that people expected them to be for a roster being that talented. And they are a talented roster. A lot of it comes down to Dak Prescott's ability to really step it up, be in that elite tier of quarterbacks, which he hasn't done yet. And I have my doubts about him being able to do that in the long run. But this Giants team, this defense is awful. This needs to be a career day for Dak Prescott, for the Cowboys. Anything else is not excusable for the expectations that you have for yourself if you're Dallas. With that being said, we have the Rams, Saints, your Falcons, and the Bengals on bye week. The Falcons are not the team with the worst record that is on bye this week. How does that make you feel?
You think I could get comfort out of that? I mean, what are you shooting for?
I mean, it's almost solid middle of the pack. I don't know.
Yeah, guess what? Your favorite team is a hair above the Bengals, who haven't won a game.
Andy, I will have you know, Andy Dalton, I think right now ranks 4th in total passing this year.
Yeah, they tried to run the air raid offense. They just
I'll let you know.
They have no defense, and
they don't.
And Andy Dalton can complete passes, but he's not competent enough to put the team on his back and win games in the trenches, or when he needs. Maybe Ryan Finley is. He's not clutch is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
He's just not clutch. Ryan Finley reminds me of Mason Rudolph, so we'll see how that goes for him.
I like Ryan Finley. I did.
Yeah.
We'll see. But
before we close this out, let me also point out that you were saying that the Browns and the Steelers are fighting for second place in that league, or
pretty much
fighting to not be last.
Yeah. Well, you can't really be last if you have the Bengals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so think about this. Mason Rudolph is a poor man's Baker Mayfield, right?
Is he a poor man's Baker Mayfield just because he got drafted later?
He got drafted after him, and he was kind of... I mean, it was almost like according to which analyst you were listening to, it was the 7, or I guess you could say 7, 6 quarterbacks. And,
I mean, he was a number 6 for me. Actually, he was close to knocking on number 5. But he was number 6 for me.
He played at Oklahoma State, where Baker Mayfield played at Oklahoma. They're both in the Big 12. But I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just rambling, so I digress.
Not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to call him a poor man's Baker Mayfield. Again, after next season is where I'm going to draw that line. But the door is open right now for him to be a rich man's Baker Mayfield. You're not going to say that Aaron Rodgers is a poor man's Alex Smith because he got drafted after him, right?
No, not at all.
So we'll see.
But he doesn't have the hype around him right now.
No, he does. He also doesn't have the talent around him, but he's in a historically more soundly run organization, is Mason Rudolph.
Mm-hmm. The winning culture.
Yeah, but he also have Big Ben potentially coming back, so
a
lot of question marks there.
Yeah.
How about we hop into some awards?
Let's do it.
I'm really looking forward to this one because the last couple of years, I always enjoy doing fantasy awards sort of thing mid-season, and end of season MVP ratings and NFL honor mock stuff, whatever. But I haven't gotten to ever talk about any 49ers in a reasonable capacity in these for a while now.
Yeah.
And finally I get to do it again, so that's a good thing. But we have a list, and I think we'll just go down that list. You want to do it in reverse order or in the order we wrote it down?
I would say let's go in reverse so that we can build to the crescendo.
Makes sense. All right. Let's go. Let's start off then with a comeback player of the year.
Comeback player of the year. I'm going to bypass the obvious one here because I feel like that's who you're going to pick. So I'm going to go with my man from the LA Rams, Cooper Kupp, who came back after his ACL tear last season to claim the number one receiver spot on that team over two well-established great receivers. Cooper Kupp is lighting it up. Touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. 220 yards this past season. Imagine that. A slot receiver achieved 220 yards in one game. He's had multiple 100-yard games before this. Cooper Kupp's on a tear, probably right up there with Julian Edelman as the best slot receiver in the league right now.
That's high praise. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, do you not agree?
That's very high praise, and I do agree. I do agree that he's a good candidate for the spot. That being said, I've got to talk about the Niners much, and you're the quarterback of an undefeated team. The least you can be is comeback player of the year if you were out all year last year and your team didn't do anything without you. I mean, come on, give it to Jimmy. I get that he's not the central part, like the machine that makes everything work in that offense. I get that he's a game manager. That's okay. We've talked about this a bunch before. A lot of players are game managers, and it turns out pretty well for him. Jimmy Garoppolo is that sort of guy. I'm going to pick him for comeback. You can call me Homer all you want. I'm going to throw out another name also, but I'm going to pick him just because of the role that he is in and the team that he is on. And because of the actual comeback story that he had, which is one of the better ones in my opinion. But just to throw another name out there, how about Dalvin Cook?
Not bad. Not bad at all. I like it. Dynamic running back for the Vikings, who has probably most likely actually won quite a few of those games that the Vikings have won this season so far. Without him, they would be in much worse shape. And he's on a tear. I mean, top 5 running back in the league. Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, he's good. He's doing really well. That offense has a lot of talent. I wanted to say, by the way, before we get up the list, there's 5 different awards where I could reasonably make a case for a 49er. Just saying. If you want to, you can guess when we get there. You can guess which one is one of them. But moving on to Coach of the Year,
and this is probably one of them.
This might be one of them. Yeah.
But I'm not going with Shanahan. I'm going. Oh, this hurts. This really hurts. I just looked at the name I picked out again. Oh God.
I think I feel like I know what we're talking about.
This is going to taste like crap when I say it, but I'm going to go ahead and spit it out. It's Sean Payton. That guy. That guy down in New Orleans. But in all seriousness, if you have your superstar quarterback go out in the fashion he did, no one expects you to keep winning. They did not lose. They refused to lose.
They did.
With Teddy Bridgewater. And you could put some of the blame on him for winning those games. But I think it's all Sean Payton. I think this guy is a mastermind. And I wish he would leave and come to Atlanta.
A lot of masterminds in the NFL at this point. I'm not going to... Again, you know I'm implying I might pick Kyle Shanahan. I'm not going to state it publicly as my official pick because I don't want to seem like a homer, but I just... might hint at the fact that might be my favorite for this pick. And to me, that's going to depend a lot on the hype that's going to keep surrounding the team. Because we're halfway through the year, they've undefeated, and the media coverage of mainstream like NFL media of the Niners is still, I want to say, somewhat underwhelming, more than it has been in a while, but maybe not quite to the level that we had the Rams last year, for example. Even though the stories are very similar in their lineup, but it's gonna depend on that hype and eventually the final record too. If we're in the ballpark of like 14-2, and we're beating a team like the Saints, then he has to be a front runner for that award. But Sean Payton to me also obvious pick. Let me throw in a curveball and say Frank Reich. I had him in the conversation last year, and a similar situation went on with him as opposed to, or compared to Sean Payton. Andrew Luck retires abruptly before the season, and now you're sitting there with Jacoby Brissett, and currently you're winning your division and you're going to the playoffs in a very comfortable manner, which I did not believe was going to be happening at all looking at the division going into it. So Frank Reich, definitely a lot of credit for that, and that's gonna be my pick for that award.
Mm-hmm. The crazy thing is, the beginning of the season, I think I actually picked Frank Reich to be Coach of the Year.
You might have, yeah. And I think also when we talked about comeback, because we did the whole thing before the season, when we talked about comeback player of the year, you said the exact same thing as you did today, which is, I'm not going to pick Jimmy because I know you will. I think that's exactly what you said.
I think so, now that you mentioned that, yes.
Yeah, that seems to be a repeating theme here. All right, yeah. let's move on to players and go with a defensive rookie of the year.
Well, this one, I'm going to steal your pick. Only because
right.
I don't see how anyone else can win this at this point in time, considering what Mr. Nick Bosa has done over there in San Francisco. What else can you say? I mean, three sacks in a game where his brother does 2 in the same day. That's an amazing stat. I mean, Nick Bosa.
Also an interception. I just want to mention that was the best play he's made all season.
Oh yeah, and it's such a crazy thing for
that was insane.
Someone that close to the quarterback to have an interception, but it happened. Yeah,
you don't see that much. Running backs drop screen passes from that distance all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I can't think of anyone else who really deserves Defensive Rookie of the Year other than Nick Bosa. So you can go ahead and tell me why it's Nick Bosa also.
Yeah, it is Nick Bosa also. And the one other person that I've even heard being mentioned in a rare scenario is Devin Bush, linebacker for the Steelers, who has played really well in his own right. Yes, it's Nick Bosa. The one question that I have, though, because he obviously should win this award. He's in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, if we're gonna be honest. How?
True.
Okay, assume he won that. Is he still gonna be Defensive Rookie of the Year? How does that dynamic even work? We've never seen that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has put his name right up there with him. And I don't think he would actually be chosen because they'll probably
It's a long shot.
Yeah,
being a rookie. Last player to do it, by the way. Can you name the last person doing that as a rookie, being Defensive Player of the Year?
Not right offhand.
Lawrence Taylor.
Pretty good
that
company, makes sense. Of course,
say.
Yeah.
Pretty good company there. So that's a maybe a bit of a long shot, but he's one of the odds-on favorites of even winning that award. But he should be a lock for Defensive Rookie of the Year either way. So probably the least debated one on this list. How about Offensive Rookie of the Year?
You know what? I have a fun pick, and
you're gonna steal my pick? Oh, great.
And a most likely pick.
Okay.
So far, man. All right, I'll just go ahead and give you my fun pick. That's Gardner Minshew.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Because I would love to see that happen. And you can say that he's not leading his team to victories like he should if he's going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. But, dude, he's still amazing. The kid is amazing. I mean, he has it all. Like, I think he's going to be great in the NFL. I think he'll have a long career. And I don't see any reason to bring Nick Foles back. I mean, what do you need to? I mean, you're not going to win that division. Why do you even need Nick Foles? Go with the guy who sells the tickets.
Well, you pay him a lot of money. That's why you might need Nick Foles.
True, but you're gonna sell more tickets, I think, in the long run if you keep Gardner in there.
It's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. So, but other than that, I think the most likely pick is Josh Jacobs, and I'm pretty sure I said that at the beginning of the season.
You did, and I couldn't agree more with both of the picks you made. Those were also my fun pick, and my serious pick. Nick Foles, to me, by the way, is the football equivalent of a rating strap in the NFL there. Mm-hmm. I think we might see Gardner Minshew be the future, and I would absolutely love for it to happen, for him to be to win that award. A bit tightly contested. I think we're looking at the sort of the favorites there in Minshew, Josh Jacobs, and maybe because of the status that he just was picked at Kyler Murray, people will have to look at him.
DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I mean you got sort of the receivers who are more of a long shot to make it. You look at Metcalf, Hollywood Brown, Deebo Samuel. I don't really think so, but those are more like long shots, outside chances. I think, but I think it's gonna be between the two quarterbacks and Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs seems to be the reasonable pick just because of the consistency of running backs. Running backs tend to be the best candidates for rookie awards. It's just simply because it's the position with the least amount of learning curve going from college to the NFL. Whereas quarterback is, of course, the exact opposite of that. But I agree that Gardner Minshew would be the fun pick. And I hope it happens.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go with the big ones here. Defensive Player of the Year.
And I am going to stick with him. Although I don't believe that he is the best player in the NFL anymore. He's still up there in the top 3. I picked him at the beginning of the season. I'm still sticking with it. It's Aaron Donald.
You know, Aaron Donald, I've had the hype kind of... Where did hype go? I don't know. All of a sudden, the Rams are not really at the top of the league. And
that's why. Yeah.
I haven't heard Aaron Donald in this discussion. I get he's always in it. I get he's a prolific player. I don't think that he's going to win it this year. I'm actually fairly certain he's not. I have 3 players written down that sort of are my 3 and that it more than likely, in my opinion, will come down to. And those players are, in order from least to most likely, Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa, Stephon Gilmore. I've had Bosa for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm going to pick Gilmore for Defensive Player of the Year. He's playing right now maybe the best season we've ever seen a cornerback play. Yeah. That includes Deion Sanders, includes Richard Sherman, Legion Boom, Darrelle Revis. Anything. Night Train Lane. He is playing out of his mind right now.
Night Train Lane.
I said Night Train Lane. That was a completely different era. That guy wasn't a linebacker. He was a linebacker. Playing cornerback crazy. He would grab people. He would just hug people's heads and just slam to the ground. You can't do that anymore.
He's the reason for the face mask rule.
He is. So Stephon Gilmore he's different. He's the best quarterback in this league. He might be the best defensive player in this league. He's excelling in this defense. Jamie Collins is in the conversation. Devin McCourty. Half the Patriots defense is in this conversation. But I think Gilmore represents the whole situation better than anyone else. And I think we're gonna see a quarterback defensive player of the year. We don't see it much anymore these days. You often get the pass rushers, the linemen. But I think we're going to see a quarterback. It's going to be Gilmore. Even though I would appreciate if it was Bosa, I don't think so. On account he's a rookie. And finally, the most valuable player in the NFL is going to be.
We didn't do offensive player of the year.
Oh, we did not. Let's do that then. Okay, my bad. I skipped over that. Let's do that.
All right. I'll go with the best player and probably the second best player in the NFL right now, in my opinion. Definitely number 1 and number 2 in offensive players in the NFL right now. I think the most likely pick is Christian McCaffrey, and a dark horse would be Michael Thomas. This guy has
been good.
This guy is quietly, he doesn't get the glitz and the glamour for it, but he is quietly the best wide receiver in the NFL right now.
He is. He's balling. That's true.
He is. And with the backup quarterback. He did not miss a single game without a touchdown.
He leads the league in receiving right now.
Yeah. Michael Thomas is the new Julio, in my opinion.
Well, the old Julio's still playing, though, and he's still pretty good. He's still balling.
He is, but at this point in time, Michael Thomas is better than Julio.
Is Michael Thomas better than Julio? I'm kind of surprised you, of all people, would take that position, because I don't even agree with that.
You don't?
No, I don't. I'll take Julio. Listen, they're both so great. They're both insane. I'll take Julio.
Okay.
If it got to my head, pick one, I'd take Julio. You can't go wrong with either one. In terms of fantasy or real life, we'll see that in the NFL, obviously. But I'll listen. Julio is not going to win any award just on account of how bad the team record overall is. Listen. I speak from experience. if your record is bad, individual players are not going to get credit. DeForest Buckner was not on the NFL Top 100 last year, and someone still will have to pay for that at some point in the future, because that's one of the most criminal injustices I've ever seen in my life. But that being said, Christian McCaffrey is a pick that it's tough to argue against. I mean, he leads the league in everything. He's you know to appreciate this, one of the best fantasy scorers. Is he actually the highest scoring fantasy player until this point?
Yeah, I believe he is. And Michael Thomas is right up there. He is. Right up there with the Patriots defense.
Doesn't surprise me much. So generally, the way that this is lined out is the offensive player of the year is generally the non-quarterback MVP. Let's be honest. That's sort of how this works. And I'm gonna have to agree with Christian McCaffrey. It's tough to make any other pick. Saquon Barkley has been out too long with the injuries. He got Alvin Kamara, but he's been sitting out a game, and he's just not racking up those same amount of numbers as McCaffrey is. McCaffrey is touching the football on over 50% of the Panthers' offensive snaps. No one but the quarterback does that. Like, ever. That's unheard of. That's just insane. He might be their best receiver, and he's obviously their best runner. I have to agree. It's McCaffrey because everything goes through him. He's what makes his offense work. And even in that complete blowout against the Niners defense, he still had over 20 fantasy points. He still played well, had some explosive plays. It just wasn't enough. So yeah, I think we do agree on McCaffrey there. Now, let's get to the MVP though, the real deal.
All right, well, let's get right into it. And everybody, all right.
Remember who we had before the season?
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
Yes.
We agreed on that. On that.
Yes. And man, he should be. Looking at the team, I still think, like, why is he not? Why is he not playing?
Well, no. I mean, having seen half of the season, he should not be. Also, just from his ability standpoint, someone else should be. But I'll get into the words.
I definitely wouldn't be picking him right now. No, if I really thought that he should be the guy that was being picked, I would list him right here. But what is going on with the team? Why is this not the season we thought it was? I guess
they can't decide whether they want to be good or not.
Exactly, and it doesn't make any sense. But I guess that's a story for another podcast.
Yeah.
The obvious pick here is Aaron Rodgers, right? But I don't want to be obvious. I'm going with. There's a really good quarterback out there. I don't know if you've heard of.
Dude, I dare you to do it. I'm gonna bet you something on that right now if you do it. Say the name. I'm gonna write it down. A pizza and a monster. Just say the name. Just get to it.
I don't want to bet on him, man.
Do it.
I want him to win. I don't want to bet on him. You know what though? There's another fun guy that's right in that category.
I'm not sure if he's so fun. I still think I know who you're talking about. I'm not sure if he's such a fun
guy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Okay. Well, I'm going with Lamar Jackson.
Oh, that is a fun guy. That's not what I was expecting.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out who you think.
I was thinking Russell Wilson.
Yeah. That's not a fun guy. Yeah.
That's not a fun guy at all.
That's more along the line of Aaron Rodgers, just not as good.
I'm gonna need you to pick Deshaun Watson. I'm gonna give you one more week. I'm gonna give you 1 week. I'm gonna give him that exhibition match against the Jaguars, and next week you're cordially invited to put whatever food item you want as a bet on Deshaun Watson's MVP odds, and I will gladly tell you no. As a matter of fact, I'm going to propose this one to you. How about Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes against the field?
I see, man. You can't bet against Aaron Rodgers. See, you're trying to get me to go against rule number 1 in your book. That you told me never to bet against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. And I disobeyed that rule for like 2.5 weeks in this year, and I'll never do it again.
Yeah. No, I can't bet against Aaron Rodgers because when it comes down to a committee picking, he is the most obvious pick, the most likely pick. Now, if it were me picking, I'll tell you this. If Deshaun Watson, if I was pretty sure, like 90% sure that they're going deep into the playoffs, then yes, I would put money on Deshaun Watson right now. Because I know this committee's not going to pick the best player in the NFL if they are not deep into the playoffs.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. But one of these guys, Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Watson, could go really deep into the playoffs. And when that happens, that is most likely that they're getting it. But then there's always Aaron Rodgers, the titan in the room that no one's going to ignore. If he's there, if he's going to the Super Bowl, he's getting it. No way around it.
And he might have to, but there's a chance that a guy like Russell Wilson doesn't go far in the playoffs. We mentioned the how strong the entire NFC is over the amount of teams that potentially have a shot there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna. Well, okay, you already basically know what I'm picking. I'm picking Aaron Rodgers, and that's because I doubted him once, and I'll never do it again. I mentioned that because he is the best player in the league.
Yeah.
Again, him, Mahomes. It's kind of unfortunate him and Mahomes are playing in the same era, because any other era, either one would be the best player clearly in the league. So I'll give Mahomes a chance to come back, but picking Aaron Rodgers right now due to the Mahomes injury. Up until then, he was my front runner. I'm gonna say this though. Thought experiment. Think Mahomes comes back, missed 2.5 games, comes back after the bye week, and at the end of the year, he leads the league in passing yards and passing touchdowns. Because he has it's a long shot, but he has a chance to actually do it if he resumes the pace he was on before.
I really don't see that happening, but yes, if he were to pull that off, he could edge out Aaron Rodgers because of him missing.
Mahomes.
Yeah, of him missing the games, and if he were to come back and do all that, then yes, I could see that. Yeah. But
we don't know. Yeah.
So far as it stands, my prediction of him going 35 touchdowns or under is looking substantial.
You said that right. It looked completely improbable before he got hurt, but I think the 35 is still on tap. I think the 35 might still be.
It's still a great number, of course.
Very much on tap. If he comes back either this week or even the week after the bye week, I think that's still very much in the discussion. And
yes.
But yeah, that doesn't change my call. Aaron Rodgers, best player of this era, best player of this millennium so far. Nothing else to say about that. No, he does stuff that, except for Patrick Mahomes, no one else could do. And imagine though an Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes Super Bowl. Imagine that.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
We could have seen the preview to it this week, but of course Mahomes wasn't playing, which made the whole game a whole bit less attracting. But that would be spectacular, and I would love to see that. Aaron Rodgers, my pick for MVP. Dark horse candidate. I think Russell Wilson actually right now has the second best odds, if I'm not mistaken. I think a lot of people really like Russell Wilson to make it, and I think even though it shouldn't, back to your point, it might depend on playoff push. If Russell Wilson just sneaks in on the wild card and loses first round, he's not going to have a good chance. And
exactly.
Similar thing
and
with
that's
Aaron
why
Rodgers,
I'm
vice versa.
tilting. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just the truth of the matter. So I'm picking Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson. Do you want to bet on Lamar Jackson?
No, because I know how much of a long shot it is. I mean,
so it was the fun pick. If he beats the Patriots,
exactly.
How about that?
Well, if he beats the Patriots, I'll put some money on it. Yes, I'll put a.
We'll get on the topic next week.
Yeah.
Get on the topic next week. If Lamar beats the Patriots, Deshaun puts 70 on the Jaguars. You can overthink it.
Yes, exactly.
And maybe come back to that one. But
I will say I am 99% sure he is talented. No, actually, I'm 100% sure that both those guys are talented enough to be the MVP. It's just
in
all a matter.
League with Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
In normal circumstances, yes. In the league with those two, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they definitely have a shot if things go their way. Mm-hmm. But I think talent-wise, if we had to rank quarterbacks in tiers, talent-wise, I think it's those two guys. It's my homeboy, it's Rodgers, and then it's everyone else.
Yeah, I think so. But
oh, no, you think so?
Well, I mean, just,
wasn't Deshaun Watson in the same tier?
No.
As Mahomes?
Hear me out. I guess I'm explaining the dude.
Okay.
The general consensus is, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and some people throw Russell Wilson in there. But we saw Cam Newton win the MVP in a league that had Brady, Rodgers, and Breeze.
That had an injured Aaron Rodgers, no Mahomes, no Watson.
Well, was he injured that season?
He was in part. He missed games almost every season.
2015. But Breeze led his team to like 4 wins that season. Yeah. And Patriots, lost to Peyton Manning. Oh, Peyton Manning was in the league that year also.
Peyton Manning was there,
yeah.
But that was the season that the Panthers went 15-1 or something? Something crazy.
Yes, they did. And the very next year, we saw Matt Ryan do it. Also, Matt Rodgers. I almost flubbed that one. Like Matt Rodgers. Who the hell is Matt Rodgers? But the very next season, we saw Matt Ryan do it.
Yeah.
So it is possible. I mean, you can't just say just because Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes are in the league that it's impossible for Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson.
It's not impossible for them to win the MVP. No, it's not. But under normal circumstances, given which is not the case, obviously, but all else held constant, those two are the guys that it comes down to just be the best. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. So that's why I would also pick those two against the field right now, even though I know that Mahomes has longer odds now that he's going to miss a few games. But he's just that good, and he might still lead all quarterbacks in all kinds of stats at the end of the year, having played effectively 13 and a half games. So that's going to be interesting to see. That's a tall order. Right now it's Aaron Rodgers to me. He's something else. That game. That game at Kansas City, I mean, I don't even know. It wasn't Patrick Mahomes on the other side, but again, he doesn't play the quarterback anyway. He plays against the defense, and that defense played their best game. And Aaron Rodgers, he just made it happen the way only he can. So that's gonna be my pick there. We might I think we're probably gonna have to get back to it. I already said we'll do it next week, but we'll do it at the end of the season again, probably. When we get closer to the NFL honors during playoff time, maybe during the wild card week or something. When we have some time. We can discuss these again. And I'll give you the opportunity to change your mind next week. I reserve that right also. And maybe we'll get a bet or two together. No bets this week, though. Looks like.
Hey,
I'm not putting anything on the Cardinals.
Oh, no? I would have taken it. But, hey, a fun anecdote that I just want to throw out here at the end of the podcast. When Deshaun Watson made that wonderful play where he got kicked in the face and he had to throw the ball with one eye, basically. Someone in the room said, well, Mahomes would have done it with both eyes closed. So, with that note, we can wrap up the podcast.
That's actually something that's actually what is perfectly what I thought. That's a great metaphor for our debate over the last few weeks. Deshaun Watson, outstanding stuff, makes a play, looking with one eye. Patrick Mahomes throws a no-look pass. It's just, that's the dynamic at the basis of this. One's great, the other is unbelievably great. That's I like that. That's a good one, yeah. So I do definitely agree, but a lot of good football to look forward to, definitely. This week and coming up.
Oh yeah. Second half of the season.
So everyone, thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of the season. Go anyone but the Cowboys, and drop a like on the video. If you're coming from this video, go check out Smokey's channel, The Trash Talkers. A lot more there than sports talk. You probably like it. A lot of entertaining stuff. And if you're from their channel, come on over to Beyond Football. Check out some of the stuff that I'm doing. And I think you might like it if you're a sports fan. Of course, we have the Scoreboard on a weekly basis. All your NFL predictions. We'll get into the playoff talk for college football once that becomes really hot. There's always something to talk about every week, but we're trying to keep the podcast at a decent length and not throw too many different topics in there. But we'll probably find time for it sooner rather than later. So until then, thank you for watching. You got anything to add?
Nope, that's it for this week, man.
All right, so we'll see you in the next one.
See ya. Deuces.